So we'll start recording.
Cool.
Any questions for us, Angela? If you go on, if you go on LinkedIn, you can see the challenge on LinkedIn though is that it'll tell us how many people, but in getting the specific number of people is a little bit more challenging unless they comment. That is the one challenge there. So
So we,
during the count, oh, go ahead, Manny.
I was gonna say we could see the insights after. You could see how many people viewed and attended, but during the thing, and it'll be on your page, on your LinkedIn page. You can see the chat. You just want to hit mute though.
Right. Okay. What other questions do you have?
Yeah. Yeah, so we actually put together a full packet for you. So you'll get some quote blocks for social media. You'll get the full MP4 recording of the whole episode. Then we'll do 4 clips, 4 video clips and stuff. So you'll get all the goods after. Mhm.
Yeah,
Well,
so you can attend right now. Once we go live, it'll take about 20 to 25 seconds. Then you'll see the countdown pop up. It's about a 30-second delay. And then you'll hear music. So you just want to make sure you mute the music for the intro because you'll see our pictures, all three of us on the intro video. And then we just want to make sure you mute that.
so yeah, no,
Yeah.
do it because it's great to see the chat.
Yeah.
Amani normally calls out people in the chat, but just yeah, do it, and then you'll see our 3 faces will come up like a minute before or so.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Mute
Yes.
the LinkedIn. Exactly.
Once the screen comes up, it'll pop up automatically on your LinkedIn page.
Yeah. And just so I have here, let me do something else just real quick here. We'll pull this down and we'll take it to YouTube just so we can have.
Yeah, and Angela, we want you to share with as many people as possible. There's actually like 30 people RSVP'd, and there's actually a lot of meeting planners in here this time around, which is, every show has a
Nice.
different makeup of people. So there's a lot of meeting planners that have RSVP'd.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
We love Susie Q.
Good. Susie K's a neighbor. Okay, so we're at 12:59. In 1 minute, I'll go live. We'll go live on LinkedIn, and it'll take us about 25 seconds to be live. And then that's when we'll be checking to make sure sound is good. And if anything happens or you have a question, just you can ask on stream. That's kind of the beauty of live stream is we adjust on the fly. So don't feel like you're wondering why you're hearing something. Definitely ask and we can correct it. Any last minute words, Mandy?
No, at the end, we have to announce our guest for next time, though.
Yes.
I have
Oh,
it, Cooper
okay.
Wallow, so I can do it if
Okay.
you want, or yeah,
Perfect.
yeah. Have
Let me
fun.
see here.
Have
Yes,
fun.
have fun.
Swearing's
Enjoy.
okay. Angela, be yourself, just let it all out there. Share all the
Yes.
adventures. We want to hear them all.
Okay, I'm gonna turn the countdown on and mute us, and here we go. So hold on, I'll rewind.
So does everybody see the screen? Not with
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning for some of you. Welcome to Adventures in Business. This is our second episode. My name is Amani Roberts, and we have Mandy with us. Mandy, how are we doing?
Hello, everybody. Happy Monday. Happy mid-August. Thanks for coming on the show today.
Yes, yes. Happy August. If you're in the audience and you want to say hello, feel free to type something in the chat so we can see it and call you out. Mandy, I'm curious, what was the highlight of your weekend this past weekend?
Oh my gosh. Well, I want to go back to my week because I was at Connect meeting last week in Detroit. And Detroit, I hadn't been there in a while. It was such a great city, but the trade show floor, I am so impressed with what people are doing to actually engage trade show visitors and attendees and get them into their booths. I mean, people were playing pickleball. There's a pickleball court
Okay,
set up, which is
okay,
awesome. And the Visit Milwaukee had cheese curds and an air fryer. And it was just super awesome. Visit Branson, Explore Branson had
mhm,
ice cream, but they put a little moonshine on it, some local moonshine.
okay.
But it was so smart because you had to wait, right? You had to wait for your turn to play pickleball. You had to wait for your ice cream. So that was an opportunity to engage with different people. So I don't know. I geek out when I see people doing unique things to instead of just standing in your stupid booth just pointing at a screen. I love it when people do different things. So that was my week. And this weekend I just put Humpty Dumpty back together again and recovered from
That's
being
funny.
away, mail and
Yes.
laundry and all that. What about you? What'd you do this week or weekend?
Well, so a couple things. First of all, Susie K is here. Hello, Susie. Good to see you. Michelle
Hi,
Devine is
Susie.
here. Hello. Yes. Oh, Angela, you found your way to the chat. Okay, that's good. That's good. Before I tell you what I did this weekend, did you participate in the pickleball?
No, I'm so sad. I love pickleball. I was too late to sign up. They already had people sign up, so I put myself on the
Ah,
wait list, but nobody needed me. No. Sad
okay.
story.
Okay. So
Mhm.
this weekend, like I've been doing a lot of work for school because school starts, I teach, and it starts in about a week, about 10 days. Preparing like a new syllabus for a new class I'm teaching. I was going through preparing some one sheets for the center that I manage. So I was doing a lot of work. I took a nap though, a good 2.5 hour nap, which has been a long time coming on Saturday. And then I streamed my DJ set last night. So it was really kind of a chill weekend, cooked some food on Friday. So it wasn't too crazy this weekend. So that's what I did.
I love it. I love a nap. Can you remind me, what are you teaching again? I know it's in economics, but it's Cal State
Yeah.
Fullerton, right?
Cal State Fullerton in the School of Business and Economics. This semester, I'm teaching four classes. I'm teaching one class, three different sections. So that's entertainment operations, where we do things and we talk about things which we're doing now, like live streaming and putting stuff on different platforms. I teach sections of that. Then I teach one section of strategic business seminar, which is like a business kind of honors class that all seniors must take to graduate. We go through case studies, we talk about careers, different businesses. So those are the four classes, two different classes that I'm teaching this semester. So this semester, like I'm not teaching project management, which I might teach some semesters, and then entertainment money management, but I'm taking those off the schedule this semester. And these are the four I'm teaching for fall 2022.
You are an animal, Amani. It's I'm so impressed that's so many because I teach one class. I know my
Yeah.
class doesn't even start until October, and I teach one class, and I'm already starting to prepare for it. I can't even imagine 4 classes. So good for you. And the world needs
Yeah.
more education by Amani. So that's pretty awesome. Lucky
Thank you.
students. Yeah.
I appreciate that. Okay, so let's see here. You want to turn us up a little bit? Okay, so they're saying turn it up on our end. Caesar or Caster. I don't know how to Caster and Brian. Hello, Brian. Good to see you. We'll turn up the volume a little bit there, and just let us know. But thank you very much. Shall we bring our guest in? What do you think, Randy?
Let's do it. Yes, I'm gonna do an introduction.
All right, do an
So
introduction. I'll segue to her, and we'll be off and running.
all right, awesome. Well, today we have a guest who I have a girl crush on. Her name is Angela Minardi. She is the founder of Fit City Adventures. She is really involved in our industry. She's involved in Site SoCal. She's super active in Entrepreneurs Organization, which the cool kids call EO. She has great dog, a really cute dog named Penny. And she packed up her car and moved to San Diego and left a pretty fancy corporate job to start this amazing business several years ago. So She is a CEO that I admire so much, and I'm excited to bring her to the stage. So, Angela Minardi, come on down.
We'll give you a round of applause there. Very good. So,
Hey,
what do you think of that
Angela.
introduction?
Hi, guys. Happy to be here. Thank you.
Hi.
We are
Well,
happy to have you here. I know my first question is, how did you get the courage to leave a nice corporate job, not only leave the job, then decide to travel across country and set up residence in San Diego? Like, how did you get that courage?
Well, I knew I always wanted to move to California. I'm originally from Boston, which is, as you can imagine, very snowy. And so I woke up one day around age of 30 and wrote a list of things that made me happy. And it started literally with beaches, sunshine, happy people, active lifestyle, and everything that was San Diego. And so I came out here for 2 trips in 2015. I did Northern California and then LA South. And I rented a blue Mustang convertible, as one does when they drive the 101.
was it powder blue? Was it cobalt? What kind of blue are we talking about?
It was like a steel. It was like a blue steel.
Ooh,
Yeah,
steel.
yeah. So yeah, just I fell in love with San Diego. It was the last place I came to. So I knew within a year, exactly to that day, I decided I was gonna sell my house, get divorced, sell everything in my house, move out here, and start a company. I just
Okay.
make a decision. Yeah, just made a decision and stuck to it. So.
Okay. Since
I
you're
love it.
from Boston, we have to ask this question. Then I'm going to turn over to Mandy. But if there's one New Kids on the Block song that you could hear on repeat for like a whole hour straight, what song would that be?
Come on, the right stuff for sure. Jordan Knight was my man. That was my first concert. Was New Kids on the
Okay.
Block. So
All
yeah,
right.
big fan, big fan.
There you go.
Did you have all the flair? Did you have all the pins, all the NKOTB pins and
Yes,
everything? Yeah.
like 100, the big ones. Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, I had the pillowcases, the comforters. I had it all. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Well, I
I
want to
think
hear,
it's
I want to hear about
Brian.
your business now. Why don't you tell
Yeah, go
everybody
ahead.
about your business now? Like, what
Sure.
is it that you do and how you do it?
Yeah, well, by the way, I love the name of this podcast because it has the word adventures in it, and that's
Yeah.
what I breathe every day. So the company is called Fit City Adventures, and at the heart of what we do, we're an active team building company. So we really focus on health and wellness and the active lifestyle. But we do bring in a community service element to a lot of what we do too. So it's really just bringing groups together, keeping them connected, keeping them healthy. Now, with COVID, obviously, we had to switch and do a lot of things online. So it ranged from meditation and cooking classes and shipping kits all over the country. But now we're back in action. So the bread and butter of what we do with event planners is really about bringing wellness to events. So in the mornings, we're doing all kinds of fitness classes, from salsa dancing to yoga and meditation to beach boot camps and boxing classes, to the afternoons, maybe bringing people out to do beach volleyball events or beach games and a beach cleanup, or bringing them to the water and doing kayaking or a nice hiking trail and doing a guided hike. So we have over 100 different activities. So we call ourselves a concierge service because it really depends on the client and their goals and how much time they have.
Awesome. What was the first gig? So you
Yeah.
start your business here. Like, what was your first paid Fit City Adventure gig that you did, and how many people?
Yeah, I'm super proud of the first event actually. So, I was kind of hustling at the beginning and going to all of the hotels in San Diego. I was a member of the tourism authority, and we made great relationships. And the Andaz was one of our first partners, so more of a boutique hotel downtown. And their sales team introduced us to Taco Bell. So they came into town for an HR retreat, and we did morning yoga and sound bath on their rooftop, which was really beautiful.
Mm.
And then in the afternoon, we took them all out to the Hotel Del Coronado and did a beach volleyball event with a clam bake and a s'more event. So was that was the first event, and I was like, yes, there's a need for this. And the second event was a week later. We did with Vans Corporate, and we did a Fit City Field Day in La Jolla. So we had them playing all different recess and relay style games. So it just kind of took off from there. But it's been a growing experience for sure. And COVID was right in the middle of it all.
Yeah. How
Yeah.
did your two first clients find you? Because those are some pretty big clients to start off with right away.
Yeah, referrals, which is a huge part of the business. So Event planners and hotel sales teams. The first one was the Andaz hotel sales team, and then the second was a DMC. So we do work with a lot of DMCs and third party planners.
You
Mhm.
mentioned COVID. What was maybe the first thing you had to kind of adjust once, March 2020 was here and you kind of saw what was going on with events and things like that?
Yeah. Well, I thought about going on unemployment really quickly. It's really hard. I had just quit my consulting job, so I was working full time and running my business and simultaneously for about 6 months. And I decided to take the leap and go right into Fit City, and then that was literally when COVID struck. So I just had some really good partners. What's cool about what I'm doing and our industry in general is everyone's obviously really helpful, and so the partners that I had built up, like restaurant groups, were suffering as well. And so we partnered together to create kits that we sent out to homes, and I built basically a production company on the side of this doing TV production, and we had chefs and mixologists and artists and a whole suite of things. And that was when we first started the virtual. We learned a lot along the way, and now a lot of people are doing virtual, but we really started doing it right in March and April. Our first big event was Cinco de Mayo, and we sent out kits all over town for tacos and tequila and doing corporate events that way. So I was just lucky to be able to create a partnership with a restaurant group, because by December we had about 200 holiday parties that we ran with
Wow.
companies. So we're shipping kits all over the country for groups of like 300 to 500 people. Yeah, so it was interesting. I never thought I would be in the world of shipping and logistics, but I quickly moved into that, and like liquor licenses and like what that looks like. So I really do enjoy it, but I really love being outdoors and being in person. That's what we're all about. So
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
Well, now that we're coming back, right? And I know I still know, right? A lot of our customers, they're still doing virtual events and they're still doing live events. Some of them are doing a little bit of both. But now that we're coming back, what trends are you seeing that people want to do for outdoor team building events? Like, is it different than what you had seen before? What are some of the top trends that people are interested in that they're asking you about?
Yeah. A lot of it is kind of we call it choose your own adventure day. So we allow people, yeah, so we allow people to choose the activity. So especially at a nice property, it's great to be able to do that. We just did it last week where we had 6 events happening at the same time. We did a
Mhm.
salsa guacamole competition, a painting class, a hiking, an e-bike, and a kayak tour. So really they could decide what they wanted to do. And then at the end, we brought everyone back together with a DJ and a karaoke show. And we customize everything that we do. I think that's the other trend is like, what can you do to make this personal, maybe to give back? So if there's a nonprofit, we do a lot of events where you can actually donate whatever you're making at the end. And this is not build a bike. This is like years beyond that. We're doing some really cool stuff. We actually have an event next week with a graffiti artist where we're bringing in the graffiti artist and we're taking their core values and blowing them up and painting all
Hmm.
these things, and then they're donating to different schools and art shelters and art locations around town as different murals. So there is team building that's there, but I would say the trend is like, how can we make this about us and our people, and again, have them maybe have the flexibility to decide too. Because people come to town, they want to have options and they want to live that lifestyle. So like the choose your own adventure is really popular.
I
Interesting.
love the concept of choose your own adventure in general. So that's super
Yeah.
cool. Is that what you title the pack? Do you title the packages choose your own adventure?
Yeah, we do. We do. And then on the wellness side, that's probably the other biggest piece. Obviously, with COVID and people wanting to stay healthy, we offer a relax and restore session where we just did, for example, the Alzheimer's conference last week. I think there was 2,000 people here in town, and we had just different rooms set up where people could go and either get massage or Reiki or acupressure. We had sound bowls. We had, what other things do we have going on? There was an ergonomics session happening. So it was, just this like surround sound of wellness, and then people can kind of take the time, take their wellness breaks or brain breaks during the conference, where we had like this Zen den room set up. And it was really cool. I'm partnering with them because they went all out. They brought out coloring books. They had essential oil and mood lighting in the room and really soft
Hmm.
pillows. And yeah, so they just did a really nice job with wellness. But I mean, I think those are the biggest things.
Now, your background comes into like PR and marketing. It's kind of one of the core elements of your background. How has that background assisted you in handling and running your business, specifically like nowadays when there's so much noise out there?
Yeah. Well, this is a relationship business. So as much, sales and marketing as you want. I mean, Mandy knows with her new book coming out, it's all about people and how you build relationships. So I'm thankful that I had a lot of that background on the corporate side. When I worked at CVS corporate, I started what was we called the Fit Club, and so I was able to work with our HR team and even our chief medical officer at the time to start this group that was all volunteer employees, but it started with 200 people and it grew to 3,000 people on our corporate headquarters where we ran all the fitness classes, the farmers markets, and just did a lot for our employees. So that piece alone in my marketing background was really helpful. But everything I've done has led me to this point. I've worked at different PR agencies. I've worked for consulting companies. I got to work at cool companies like Google and see how they ran their events and programs. But public speaking and writing at the foundation of being a business owner, and then having an MBA and the back end of that has just been really helpful. But I mean, I definitely do not know everything. I'm learning a lot. And if I don't know how to do it, I outsource it and I get experts in who can. And that's the benefit of the group like EO, where you have these entrepreneurs and coaches who can help you. So it's
Yeah.
been great.
You mentioned public speaking. I'm curious, what did you do to improve your public speaking and get more comfortable? Because that's probably the most important part for a solopreneur to kind of do is be able to
Yeah.
speak quickly, succinctly, but effectively. And what advice do you have to people who maybe a little bit or have a little trepidation towards public speaking in their
Yeah.
business?
Yeah, well, I luckily my background is in public relations. So my undergrad degree was in media relations, and so I was the media relations director for the American Heart Association in Boston for 6 years. So I would have to media train CEOs and be on camera quite a bit. And it was an amazing job, and I got to work with heart and stroke survivors, including Teddy Bruschi of the New England Patriots, and so you just kind of had to always be on. And I think that it's real, just training by doing. So my recommendation is always to put yourself into maybe uncomfortable situations because that's how you learn. And I heard someone tell me once that fear and excitement are the exact same physiological
Mm.
response in your body. It's just how you mentally react to it. So if you can change that thought to like, I'm so scared, to this is really exciting. I'm so excited. Your heartbeat's racing, but it's for a different reason, and it sort of starts to calm down. And obviously picking people in the audience and having friends there, and like that always helps. But when I first started the business, I was pitching at hotels and to DMCs, I think every day or every other day. And now even just on sales calls, I think I have four a day. So I'm just constantly doing it. So the more you do it, and having some mentors, record yourself and watch it and listen to it. Go on a walk and listen to a sales call and kind of hear, oh man, I said it that way. I didn't even realize it. Um, that's what I do. I try to.
I think
Excellent
that
advice.
translation, right? That translation nation, like what you just said is so powerful about we all get nervous, we all have fear, and it can either paralyze you or it can catapult you, right? And so it's
Right.
in that moment when you feel it. And this is, whether you're speaking or in business or whatever it is. I'm so grateful that you brought that up, Angela, because I think that's really important to feel like everybody feels this, but we can either make this really good or it can go really, really bad. So when you feel that, make it work for you. I love that.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
And always ask for feedback because
Mhm.
you're going to learn something from every presentation. Like, oh yeah, man, I didn't even think about it that way. But there's groups like Toastmasters that are good ones for people to join. I would definitely
Yes.
recommend
Yes.
that. Yeah.
Mhm.
I have another question about tips since we're on Angela giving tips to business owners. So since you have, when you're a business owner like we are, you have to wear all the hats, but not everybody has the marketing and PR expertise that you have. So what are a couple tips that you have for business owners that if you were to tell a business owner, make sure you do one to two of these things relating to marketing, social media, whatever it is in the marketing area? What are those things for the business owners that might be listening that don't have that big background that you have?
Yeah. Well, try and understand your audience and where they find you and what their needs are is the first thing. So, for me, my audience is usually event planners and HR directors, and they're looking for me on the web. So, I really needed to have a great website, and the website needs to tell your story. And so, when I'm running experiences, that story is told well through pictures and video. So, making sure that I have testimonials from clients and branding of, client logos on there. I think just helps sell your company. Sometimes less is more, like less words, more video, more snackable. I call it snackable content, right? Like
Mhm.
10 to 20-second bits because people's attention spans are so short now. Um, but for me, like we're business to business, so we do have an Instagram page, but granted, we probably could be doing more. But a lot of what we communicate through is email. So you don't have to have this crazy branded social media page. Just know, like, well, maybe they're on LinkedIn, and maybe I should be sending more personalized messages on LinkedIn versus Instagram. And by the way, LinkedIn has this really cool record feature that you can record your voice and send a message, which might make you stand out a little bit more. But
Mhm.
marketing is all about understanding where your people are and your buyers and how they want to be communicated to. And most of the time, it's not once. So don't give up after one time. It's usually 3, 4, 5, 6 times from different channels that it starts to resonate. Yeah.
It's a good tip. And I learned the
Interesting.
other day, LinkedIn too, you can do on your cover page on LinkedIn or on your profile, you can create a video. So if you want somebody to see not just your picture, you can do a video. It says, I just learned that a couple. Everybody probably
Yeah.
already knows that I might be late to the game, but I
Yeah.
just learned that a couple weeks ago.
No, good
No,
tip
it's
there.
great.
Good tip there. You spoke about Instagram, and we were already going to ask you about like apps or things that you use, but I find it really interesting that the first thing you mentioned was email. We're in a day and age where like TikTok is running things, Instagram, depending on your age and of your market, maybe Facebook. But you mentioned email, and I always tell my students that make sure you create an email list because it's so valuable because all these other platforms can go away tomorrow, a la MySpace, and then you've lost the audience that you've built up. Why
Yeah.
email? Why email as the first thing you mentioned? I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, email is the main means of communication for my customers. We're talking busy event planners and they need proposals in 24 hours and they just need the basics. They're not looking on TikTok for information on these type of events. Usually they might go there for fun after work. So, we do have a strategy to start building up videos and things in those places, but we're really all about referrals and networks and membership organizations and finding the right contacts and getting them the information they need. And for the most part, that's through email. So we do send out a marketing e-newsletter every month that talks about all of our programs and gives people a snapshot. And then we really just customize stuff like based on their size of their company and their location of their event. Um, yeah, I find that like people are looking and they're perusing on Instagram, maybe to like verify branding and like maybe see some videos, but they're buying through email. So
Yes.
you really have to be in both places. Yeah, I know email is hard because we get way too many. I think I get 300 a day. Um, but I have to coordinate with vendors and who are like kayakers, right? And then I have then I have my clients who are traveling all over the US and might not even be from town. So in different time zones. And yeah, it's just try to keep it through email is easiest.
I think we have a question. Amani, did you see a question in the chat? It's a earlier question. It was from Vicky. Vicky Meldrum, thank you for participating. It says, do you have a business model for this or did you create it?
Great question. I did create it. I was actually on a bus in Morocco when I came up with the idea because
The old Boston
the
Morocco
old bus.
businessman.
I was working for Accenture, which is a consulting company, and I was traveling and I moved out here and said I'm going to travel as much as I can. So I went to 20 countries in 2 years, just kind of like blitzed all this travel. But every time I went somewhere, I wanted to see the city in a fun fit way. Like that was my thing. Like I want to run around
Hmm.
in Morocco and I want to go for a run, but I don't feel safe and I don't know how to do these. I went on a lot of group tours and I did start to use Airbnb experiences, but those weren't corporate groups. Those were just like individuals finding things to do. So I thought there's got to be a program like this out there, and there really wasn't. there's team building companies, but there's not someone that's doing this in different cities based off of the city. So my goal is to franchise this, right? And to make this very personalized for each of the cities that we're operating in, which we do. We're now in almost every city in the US, and I hope to
Wow.
go international as well. So so we can customize, like something in Vegas is very different than Scottsdale, is very different than San Diego. So
Mhm.
but it does follow very similar to how a DMC operates. We really focus on what we're good at, which is health, wellness, and experiences and activities. So like we don't do the transportation, we don't book hotels, we're not really doing dinner services or anything like that. We partner with a lot of DMCs and we refer business to a lot of event planners around that when our clients do need that. So it's kind of cool because now we have three verticals. We have like the hospitality and tourism events. I've got the corporate events where I work directly with, like, like the HR directors and COOs. And then we are also in commercial real estate. So we work in different office buildings to provide them with on-site concierge services too.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't realize that. How long have you been in the commercial real estate space?
Yeah, well, really, it was so a lot of discussions were happening before COVID, but then it kind of paused a little bit, and so now we have a few partners in the San Diego area that are looking to bring tenants back or have a lot of, young millennial life science companies, and they want to do something different versus just like, oh, we have a gym and we have a surfboard rack. It's like, no, that's not really an event or an experience.
Yeah.
So yeah, we bring stuff in for them. They don't have the overhead because we can help them with all that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Now, you're currently very, very active in like Site SoCal, EO, North County Chamber, Women in Hospitality and Tourism. How has your experience and your volunteering helped to elevate your business even further?
Well, first of all, it's made me a better person. I mean, I'm learning
Mm.
a lot. Getting your MBA does not mean anything as it relates to running a business. I mean, if you teach economics, I don't remember my economics of class, no offense, but
None
I'm
taken, none
sure
taken. Don't
I'm
worry.
sure it's up here somewhere. But that's why a bookkeeper is extremely helpful. I think
Yes.
that I find a lot of what I don't know and don't need, and these don't know how to run in these organizations like EO with the coaches and the structure. Site SoCal with just the expertise in planning events and incentive events. The Chamber of Commerce just with connections to the local community. So each of them kind of has a niche and a benefit, but it's mostly just building up my community. And that way, when they do need something and they do need support with team building, I'm kind of the first person that they call. But that's really not why I'm doing it. I'm doing it because I moved here. I now own a home in North County, San Diego, and I want to be part of the community and I want to give back as much as I can. We just did a really cool female founders summit with EO,
Mm.
and it was all high school girls and first year college students from the Lavin Center at SDSU. And so
Mhm.
we put together business plans, and my group of 9 women won, or girls, I guess I should say. They
Oh,
were
cool.
It was so cool. They created a pet app so they could use geolocation to find their pets and to find pet community and coupons and all this stuff. And I was like, man, Penny and I need that. You need to go create that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I love doing it. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, since you mentioned Penny, tell us who is Penny and tell us all about Penny.
I wish I wish she's here. She's at the daycare today, but this is
All
Penny.
right.
She's
Oh,
a little
Penny.
Cute eyes.
she's a 7-month Bernedoodle, and she's my little buddy, and she's the Fit City mascot. I've got to get her some gear to wear. But she's gonna be about 100 pounds, so she'll be a pretty big dog. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Can we
Okay.
go back for a second to your story of origin? Because I'm kind of curious about, and I think I read somewhere, correct me if I'm wrong, let me know if this is fake news. But I think I read somewhere that your dad came over from Italy in the 70s and started his life and his career. And then there's a little parallel there of like you leaving Boston and coming over to San Diego. So can you tell us first about your dad's journey, his
Yeah.
experience, and then how did that inform you throughout your life in terms of taking risks or in terms of just having the chutzpah to travel cross country and start your own business? So I'm just curious about
Yeah.
like his story and then how that informed your story.
Yeah, thanks for asking. I mean, we all have an immigration story, but yeah, I'm first generation. So my dad came in the 70s, and he had a brother and a sister and then his parents. and they didn't really have family here at the time, but wanted to start a better life. So one sec.
Yeah. Hydrate.
So
That's what we see on Twitch.
yes, coconut water. So they came over, and then he started his business from our garage when I was 2 years old. And now it's a multinational, really successful engineering company. So I got to see my dad as an entrepreneur, building his business, buying buildings, putting my little hands in the concrete of the buildings, and
Aw.
yeah, super cool. But my grandfather's story is even more interesting. Which my grandfather was a prisoner of war in Germany in World War II
Ooh.
and escaped. And a family took him in, a German family, and he was able to escape and meet my grandmother. And if any part of that story had changed, if he just didn't have the determination, if he was in the camp for 2 years, and they were basically surviving by eating grass on the outside of the fence.
Wow.
It was a working war camp. He was in the Italian army, so the Germans captured the Italian soldiers, and made them work for their SS soldiers. So it's a kind of a crazy story, but yeah, that part of then my father coming here, obviously just an inspiration for me to make my dreams a reality. I love New England and I love going back there. My family's still there, but
Mhm,
there's something about California that just like speaks to my heart. So I don't think I'll
mhm.
leave. I love it here.
And is your family all back there? Because is there a family business in play, or are they still there? Are you still
Yeah.
involved in the business?
Yeah, my dad still owns his company, and but my brother, my father, and myself are part of a family partnership. We own some commercial real estate buildings in New England, so um, uh, they do much more than I do from here, but I am part of that, and it is an interesting business to be in and learn a lot about commercial real estate too. So yeah,
Now we
Interesting, interesting.
understand, yes, that you're very knowledgeable about pickleball. And pickleball is one of the fastest growing sports in the United States. It is. The Sports Illustrated wrote a
it
whole
is.
article about it about 3 or 4 weeks ago, which was very interesting. It's very controversial with the different governing bodies and all that. We're curious, like, what are your two favorite pickleball courts, and why do you feel that this is such a fast growing sport?
Okay, well, I actually get to meet a pickleball pro in 2 weeks. We're filming her for a conference. Yeah, Jenny Dawson. She's one of the top pickleball pros, and she's right here in San Diego. So I sometimes play at her court, which is the Encinitas Bobby Riggs facility. It's very intimidating there, though. There's really good players. And I also play in Carlsbad at Poinsettia Community Park, which is really cool because it's open play. So you show up and you bring your paddle and you put it up on the wall, and whoever's paddles next, you grab those 4 paddles and you go to a court. And so you play with different people, different levels, and you bounce around. And I just find like it's such a fun, cool community. Everyone's really welcoming. It's really fast paced. You definitely sweat.
Mhm.
Um, but it's easy to pick up, and that's why it's the fastest growing sport, because you can play if you're 5 years old or 85 years old. And it really did start in like senior communities, which they are much better than me at pickleball. But yeah, I don't know. I think that's why it's the fastest growing sport. It's really cheap to start. You just get a racket on Amazon, like $20 and a ball.
Yeah.
So it's fun.
Are people asking, are groups asking you to set up like I was just at Connect West and they were set up a pickleball court as a point of engagement for with other customers. Are people asking you to do that, or are they not there yet?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
have we do pickleball events, and we do a lot of it at tennis courts at resorts, or we do it in parking lots. We do tournaments where we just tape it off and bring in the gear. Yeah, so it is a popular sport. I would say volleyball on the beach communities is pretty popular. I don't know that everyone's there with pickleball. I wish more played, but yeah. I mean, I think
Interesting.
e-biking is getting to be just as busy with the events. People want to go on e-bike tours, which is pretty cool too.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Do you do a guided
Besides,
e-bike tour kind of thing, or is it just
we do. Yeah, we have a number of e-bike partners, and sometimes we can bring them right to the properties and the resorts, and do a whole. We have different guides that lead those.
that's awesome. Sorry,
Yeah,
Amani. I got excited when
no,
she
no,
said
it's okay.
yeah.
It's okay.
yeah.
In addition to e-biking and pickleball, what are maybe two or three more like trending or newer activities that you feel could get even bigger moving forward?
Yeah. Well, I really like the community events. I mentioned, the kind of like the new spin on the bike builds. We do events with surfboards and skateboards where you get to paint those, the bottom of those, and design those boards. And then, for example, the surfboards are donated to a charity called Operation Amped, which they come and accept the boards, and that charity is based out of Camp Pendleton. So they rehabilitate veterans through surfing events. And the skateboards we do with the Boys and Girls Club. So a lot of what we do is like the games. So we're bringing out teams and we're playing Fit City Field Day. We have
Mm.
one this Friday in Malibu with 150 people, and it's an adult summer camp. So they've themed everything with the summer camp. We're wearing the bucket hats and the high socks and the whistles, and we have like 7 different stations. So one of them is dodgeball, which who doesn't love dodgeball?
Oh,
Um,
wow.
Love
yeah,
it.
and music and a gauntlet, and right, like, we've got like it's very competitive. They're a company that builds a virtual reality app. So you use the Quest Oculus, and then you're playing fitness games through the app. So super cool company, and we're excited to go run those events. Yeah.
Very interesting. Wow. Hmm. Another question I have, really, and this one kind of goes a little off script, but I love asking this, is that so if we're going to go back and we're going to talk to Angela right as she's graduating from Syracuse, shout out to all the Syracuse Orange men and women in the audience right there, and ask her if she would give her younger self some advice based on what you know now. What advice would you give like your 20, 21-year-old self that's just graduating from college?
Yeah. I really thought I needed to follow this path. And I don't know if that's like a growing up in a small town New England thing or what, but I wish I had started my own company sooner.
Mm.
But I felt like I didn't have enough experience. I didn't have enough experience. I need to get this title and that title and that title and go to school. And it's like, you really don't. You're never going to be prepared. Just start, right? Just do it. You just need the passion and the determination. I think people want to help business owners. So, it's like, oh yeah, let me connect you to this person or this person. As long as you obviously have a good product and you know the basics. But I think I stuck in a corporate world probably a little too long, and it just like my soul wasn't in it anymore. So I'm thrilled to be doing what I'm doing with really cool people.
Awesome. Great advice.
That's a good
Over to you,
question.
Mandy.
I well, I have a question about your travels because I see you on the socials, and you're a traveler, and you do so many cool things when you travel, right? So I'm just curious, is your antenna up, or how does your antenna get impacted when you're traveling for fun? Because I know, and Amani, you're probably like this for music too, but like when I'm traveling for fun at a hotel, I can't help but look at all the things and think about it from a business standpoint. Or if I'm interacting with groups of salespeople, or even like buying a car, I'm like thinking about the technical sales process of it. So, like for you and your business antenna, while you're up and you're traveling and you're in Aspen or you're in Switzerland, like what happens to you in a personal experience when your antenna's up, and like have you brought any ideas back to your business that were sparked from some random, personal experience you had while you're on the road?
Yeah, of course. I think it's all about like that customer service and surprising and delighting people. Like
Mhm.
knowing me and knowing that I like these certain things when I travel, and being able to like show up in a hotel and having those things there. So we ask those questions in advance with our clients, so that when their groups do show up, we can have their wetsuits available and whatever else it is, right? And like surprise them with a local beer that's on tap. So
Mm,
there's certain and the foods and things that we do. So yes, I'm all about like the extra special touch, because that's what people remember, right? Like that's the
yeah.
memory that.
Yeah.
So yes, I wish I could do more. Most of my international travel is like to crazy places like Egypt, which doesn't necessarily translate, at least yet.
Mhm.
Um, but I've learned a lot from those Airbnb experiences. Like I did a really cool e-bike one when e-bikes were first a thing in Paris. And like what the guides do and how they treat how like professional the guides are. And so just I learned something from everything that I do, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. How is that different? How was the e-bike experience different in Paris than it is here?
Well, I think the way that at the beginning, well, now not much, but I think at the
Mm.
beginning they had started and they had asked a lot of questions for people to get to know each other, and they even did some team building games as part of that, and I was like, oh, That's really cool. We need to do those things on our hikes and tours. We can't just send people out on a hike. We need to do this game where they talk about their last favorite adventure and they pair up with people who have the same soles of their shoes. So they get, yeah,
Ooh,
like, this
that's
is your
fun.
Wow.
soulmate, right? Like there was
Mhm.
some cool, like, little games and things that just I like to incorporate into our events. So yeah,
So
Super
as you can
fun.
see behind me, I love to read. And I'm curious from you, being, such an experienced entrepreneur that you've been through so much, have there been any books that you've read either in the past or recently that have really had like an extreme impact on you either personally or professionally?
hmm. Yeah, I try to read a lot of books, but then I end up using an app called Headway, which is like a
Oh.
3 minute, or Blinkist.
Mhm.
We have an app, that partnership through EO for Blinkist. So it basically is like, if you remember Cliff's Notes, when you're younger,
Mhm.
it's like distilling down to 5 to 7 minutes, and you can do audio. I've tried really hard to do a lot of audiobooks, but I am not an auditory learner. I don't really learn and retain. I need to actually read. So I'm more of a visual person.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that's why for me, like, books have to be super short. I would say that a few that have made an impact for me are, they're not necessarily business books. The Untethered Soul by Michael
Oh,
Singer
yes.
is one of my
Yes.
favorite books. The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz is one of my
I
favorite
love Don
books.
Miguel Ruiz. Ugh.
San Diegan. Um, what else? The Big Leap, or The Giant Leap, I think, was a book. Really, it's a cool book, and it talks about your zone of genius and like
Mhm.
how you need to live in that zone of genius, and that's where your energy comes from. And our biggest challenge as entrepreneurs is our time and our energy. And so, like, how can you find out what that is and spend most of your time, 90% of time, in your zone of genius? And if my zone of genius isn't finance, which it isn't, then I need to find a really good bookkeeper to help me because it's
Exactly.
just draining my energy, right? So, yeah.
We've
Yeah.
heard a theme. We've heard a theme about your bookkeeper a couple
I
times
Yeah.
know,
here.
she's
We
the
got it.
best. She's the
Check.
best.
We got
Nicole.
it.
Whoop, whoop.
Shout out to Nicole.
Nicole, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I love business development, and I love meeting people. So that's where I really want to kind of spend my time.
That's your zone of genius. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, now you've done consulting for like insight for major corporations for health and wellness. What do you see that corporations are doing that is good or correct with wellness, and what could they improve on?
Oh boy, that's a can of worms. I think I think it totally depends on their culture. We work with some startups who don't have a ton of money, but they're doing some really cool creative things. And then we work with some big companies that they just don't have it together. They're still doing old school stuff, and there's too much red tape. So I think the biggest thing is building. I don't know, the right term for it, but a lot of companies call it culture crews, or CRGs, or ERGs, which are colleague resource groups, so that
Mm,
like-minded people can come together, and it's peer led. It's not something that is like the CEO says we have to do this event in this way, but it's a committee that is
Mm,
formed, and then that always has the best ideas around wellness or that holiday party or whatever it is, because it's coming from them. And taking surveys is in unique ways is really interesting too. I mean, obviously you want to reward people for taking the time to do these things, but I think you get so much more out of like an assessment than just saying, well, we did it this way last year, so I think we're going to do it this way. Yeah.
So you said CRGs. What's an
Yeah.
ERG?
Employee resource group, same
Employee
thing. Colleague
resource group.
resource
Okay, got
group.
it.
Yep, yep. And that's more on the, obviously, the corporate side. I mean, again, it depends. Like, I was working at Blue Cross Blue Shield and Kaiser Permanente, and Kaiser Permanente had some pretty cool programs because obviously they're health and wellness. Like, they even had the treadmill desks in the offices at the time, and this was like 5 years ago. And they had the volleyball courts, and they gave people breaks, and there were snacks. But Blue Cross Blue Shield was in a high rise, and they didn't have any of that. So
mm,
still, two health companies doing things very differently. So I think it really depends on the leadership. But if there's things that you want to do in your company, most of the time I find that people are open to it. They just need the suggestion, right? So, like, bringing it to HR and saying, I want to start this committee. Doesn't have to be a lot of work. It can just be, when you feel like it makes sense. But that way you can take it upon yourself to do it. in your way. Yeah.
Awesome. Well done.
It is
What
awesome.
before we get to kind of the rapid fire round of questions, when you ask us a question and we ask you questions, what's next for you?
Oh boy. Okay, what's next for me? Growing my company is always a focus.
Mhm.
Yes.
So just continuing to hustle and work with some great clients. The my home I'm renovating. I'm just minute. Mandy knows I went through this big renovation behind me. This is all brand new, but I'm finishing now my yard here, my front
Okay.
yard, and I'm excited about that. Um, and then just more travel. I'm probably going to be hopefully going to Europe for Christmas markets and doing a big trip in holidays.
Oh,
So
Okay.
fun.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
All right. So while you kind of think about what questions you want to ask us with regards to like business or advice or things like that, we're going to show the quick 1 minute commercial for you, which is a pretty cool commercial we like. So we want to share that with the audience while you think. So we're going to put that on while you think, and we'll be right back here.
Fit City Adventures is San Diego's premier lifestyle concierge. We have searched, surfed, biked, and hiked our way through all of the best activities that San Diego has to offer so that your group can have all of the fun in the sun minus the stress. With our leisure, active, and adventure packages, we plan activities that fit your vibe. We are super stoked to bring you the best activities on land and sea that will get your heart pumping and cameras capturing memories that will last a lifetime. So leave it to us. We are your one-stop shop lifestyle concierge in San Diego. So visit our website at fitcityadventures.com to set up an introductory call and start planning your trip or event today.
Yes, yes. I love that video there. Excellent job there. Especially the beach shots, just tremendous work. I'm trying to figure out Mandy's one. Like, I wonder, we have to talk because we should figure out a way to work it because I'm a DJ. I do kind of similar activations and you do some things there that is really cool. So I'm impressed. We're fans, quick
Well,
fans.
big fans. Well, like I said, girl crush, girl crush. But I was But I was actually thinking about this as you were talking. I was thinking about, since Angela, you're a concierge program, and Amani does a bunch of he does a bunch of live games, like live game shows and things like that for people. You guys should work together. We should talk about. I mean, you'll do
Yeah.
your own thing, but I won't
Yeah,
broker that
well,
deal. But I feel like you should talk offline
for
because I
sure.
feel like he might add something to some of your customers' needs too.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So as we get towards the end of the show, we have a little spin that we do. So I'll ask you a question, but then we flip the tables on you where you ask us a question in 20 seconds or less. Obviously, we have no idea what you're going to ask us. So it can be business related, it can be personal, whatever you want.
Mhm.
But I'll ask you first, Angela. So 20 seconds or less, you talked about your zone of genius. What do you consider your zone of genius? And how do you recommend people bring out their own zone of genius?
Okay, 20 seconds. My zone of genius is making connections. And
Mhm,
I recommend people find their own zone of genius by going to that website and filling out there's probably a survey or questionnaire. So
mhm.
you can kind of see what your strengths are because it's all about your strengths.
I love it. And is it Zone of Genius? What is the website?
I don't know. I'd have to Google it.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll
I read it
Google
a
it.
while ago. Yeah.
We'll
We'll
Google
Google
it
it
and we'll
for
put
sure.
it in the show notes after the
Yes.
fact.
Yes.
But I love that word Zone of Genius. That's awesome.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So I have to ask a question to both of you or just one?
Well,
Both
both
of
of
us,
us
but yeah.
individually. So Mandy's up first. So we're gonna go to
Oh,
Mandy. You can ask her a question first, and then I'll
Okay.
be second.
and
All
it can be
right.
Okay.
different or same, whatever you want. Yeah.
I would love to know in this event planning world what you think your biggest accomplishment is to date.
Oh dear God. I think I don't even know if this is an accomplishment. I just think moving from Cleveland, Ohio to San Diego 22 years ago to work at the Sheraton San Diego and just really kick off my hotel hospitality career. I think
Mhm.
just having the chutzpah to do that at age 24 is a huge accomplishment. And kind of like what you said earlier, without your grandpa doing what he did and your dad doing what you did, none of these things would happen. Like, had I not moved from Cleveland to San Diego, I don't think I would be doing what I'm doing today. So I think the accomplishment starts with the story of origin of just moving. Yeah, great
Yeah,
question.
excellent answer. Okay, so now it's for time for you to ask me a question. So I'll sit here and wait while you ask.
Do we have wait music?
Yeah.
Well, no, I actually
So,
wanted. Well, I actually wanted to know that question as well from you, Amani, because I don't really know your background as well as I know Mandy's.
yeah. Okay. And so the question was just what was kind of like the defining moment, so to speak?
Yeah.
Yeah. One that I go back to frequently is that when I was switching from working corporate for Marriott to being a DJ, I went to Scratch Academy. And you have to go through, it's like getting your MBA in DJing. And you go through the final class, you have to get 320 out of 400 to pass a B. And I got 318. And so that was the final class. I had to retake it, but I had to decide, do I really want to stick with it and be all in, or I just want to take my ball and go home? And so I made the decision to stick with it, got one of the biggest scores ever in the class, even though it's very, very subjective because you're performing. And so, you never know when your performance is going to be off. So I would say like that was really, really impactful in my life, my career, and kind of really elevated me to continue to go further. And then the runner-up would probably be just being like the first African American president for MPI Southern California in 44 years. That was big too. So
That
yeah,
was
that's what.
awesome. And you were such a great president,
No,
Amani. I bet you're
thank
happy you're
you
not
very much.
president anymore, but you were such a great. That's
Fit
what I
City
met Amani
Adventures
earlier
is
this
San
year at our
Yeah.
MPI Southern California event, and he was a great, great leader.
Yes. Yes. So there you go. Great questions.
Awesome.
That's good.
I think my final question for you would be, and I love to kind of end off with this, but like a lot of times, we know a lot of entrepreneurs and they hit a certain level and then they plateau. So what advice would you have for maybe people who have kind of done some good things within the entrepreneurial world, but have hit a plateau and are looking to kind of get reinvigorated and hit that next level? What advice would you have for them?
I wish I had advice on that. I haven't gotten there yet. I don't think I ever will get there. It's the immigration thing. Maybe it's just innately in my DNA that I never stop. And if it's not just for me, then it would be for my family or my friends or my community, right? So I guess it's back to the zone of genius and what are you passionate about? Like maybe reevaluating why are you really doing this? Because if it's just for money or if what are the reasons? And maybe money is your reason and that's awesome and it's working for you. But what every year, right? We all have kind of New Year's resolutions. So what can you be your business resolution? Like what are you looking to learn and gain from doing it? Because work is 75% of our lives. And if it's just a job, then it's not really a fun thing for us. So that's why I'm thankful. Business coaches really help and having mentors and outside perspectives. If you don't have that, you can get lazy and you can plateau. But luckily I have lots of coaches, probably more than I need to help me with my plans and my goals and 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, 10-year goals, like not just 1 year, right? Where are you going in 10 years? Because
Awesome.
that really helps. Yeah.
All right. Mandy, what's your final question for Angela?
I mean, well, I guess the important question, right? Speaking of, since you're a connector, if people want to connect with you, how can they do that? How can they find you? If they want you to do an event for them, or if they want a great book recommendation, you've given us so many little snacks
Yeah.
and nuggets today. How can they connect with you?
Yeah. My email, Angela@fitcityadventures.com. And our website is Fit City Adventures. And so is our Instagram and LinkedIn and Facebook. So that's the best way to find us. And yeah, I'm super responsive to email. I think our phone number is on our website as well. So whatever works best for you.
Awesome.
Happy to help.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Thanks for being here, Angela. I know I tracked you down at a site event about a month or so ago, and you were like, "What is
Yeah.
this? What are you doing?" But I'm glad because this,
Yes.
first of
Great.
all, the Adventures in Business is a pure partnership with your Fit City Adventures. But
Yeah.
I think you've given us so many nuggets to take away. I know I've been putting information in the chat, and I'm going to write a bunch of things down so I don't forget after we hang up. So I just appreciate you sharing your time today.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for doing this and allowing a platform to people to share and learn. So I think it's awesome, especially on LinkedIn Live. It's really cool. Love that you're doing it.
Heck yeah.
Absolutely. You're welcome.
Yeah.
So what we'll do is we'll get you back to the green room. We'll close off. So just a round of applause and thank you very much to Angela. Make sure you follow her and just thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, so Mandy,
Yes,
What's next?
Amani.
Great. Wow, yes. What's coming up for us next week?
Okay, well, not next week, but the week
Ah,
after. So
2 weeks.
August
Yeah.
29th, 2 weeks.
Mhm.
They say that bi-weekly, is that how they say it?
Yeah. There you
Bi-weekly.
go. Yeah.
August 29th, we have a man I met on Clubhouse, on the audio
Okay.
app Clubhouse. His name is Cooper Wallow, and
All
he
right.
is the franchise owner of a delicious restaurant in Fargo, North Dakota called Mahana Fresh. And they
Mhm.
specialize in really healthy bowls, gluten-free bowls, and things like that. He's a father of three, and his Instagram handle is chiseled dad bod. So I've got a lot of questions for Cooper,
All right.
but I'm excited to talk to a franchise owner because we haven't really talked to one yet, and he
Sure.
made a
Yeah.
leap from a cushy corporate job too. So I'm excited to talk with him. 1 o'clock on August 29th, East or Pacific
Got
Standard
it.
Time, 1 o'clock, August 29th.
Perfect. All right. Well,
Mhm.
great show today. Excellent interview. I love learning from Angela. So that was great.
Yeah, me too.
Excited for 2 more weeks, and just stay tuned for more updates from the both of us.
Stay tuned. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks for being
All right.
here.
Take care, everyone. Hold on. All right. All done. Stop streaming.